Okay, shows that we're live. I'm just going to check in two places and also try and spread the word that we are, in fact, still holding our broadcast since we're a little late. Awesome. So for those of you that are hopping on here with us, let us know that you're on here. I need some comments, thumbs up, so I can see who's on here. Otherwise, you will go unnoticed, and I don't want that. So good morning to you all. I am Juliette Abdel, President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and I'm happy to continue hosting these live broadcasts generally at 11 a.m. Every now and then we get a small snag. Today was one of those, but with our tech hats on, we were able to still hold this. So I'm extremely excited for our broadcast today. If it's your first time tuning in to what we're doing, you can find a lot of our videos pre-recorded and available to you on the video section of our Facebook page. If it's your first time landing on here, be sure that you hit that like button and the follow so you can get those timely alerts when we're going live, when we're posting content and other alerts. We're on a variety of social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter at Westie Chamber. And of course, this is being aired on our YouTube page as well, Westminster Chamber of Commerce. Quick shout out to several folks, our board chair, Brian Dice, Councillor DeMont. It looks like Robin's also with us and a couple of other people. If during this broadcast you think of some questions or you take something away, give us what those widgets of nuggets, maybe knowledge that you learned into the comment section so that we can know which of it resonated with you. If you have questions that you wanted us to address, type those into the comment section. I won't interrupt Justin during the broadcast. We'll actually take those up at the very end. So be sure you type them. We'll put them in the queue, and that's how we work through those comments and questions that we have. So today's broadcast, and before I transition, this is how we'll post the comments and questions. So hopefully you have a profile picture that you're extremely proud of, like our counselor, Dave DeMott. Good morning to him as well. And of course, Robin's on here giving you a shout out as well, Justin. And Brian Dice, who was text harassing me, wondering, where the heck are you? I tell you, people get married into our 11 a.m. broadcast and they want them right then and there. So needless to say, you all are aware on Fridays, we generally give you some sort of a district update. Sometimes it's our electeds that are coming to you from county, state, or federal. Sometimes it's administrations. Other times it's been our school districts. Today we have with us Hyland Hills, which is a park and recreational special district in our community and servicing an area surrounding not just Westminster. With us is Justin to share a few words on his end, how Hyland Hills has been impacted by COVID, what they've done, transitioned, how they've adapted, and then probably more importantly for a lot of us that love to go out there and see their various facilities, which ones are open, and which ones can we do business to try and support them and keep them going. So Justin, I will mute myself. You can take it away.
Well, thank you, Juliette. One, for the patience. I apologize for the delay, and sorry to everybody out there. The Wi-Fi wasn't as friendly, so we're just going to go ahead and eat up my cell data, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and give you all the information that you need. But I want to thank Juliette first of all, and thank you to the Westminster Chamber of Commerce for having myself on the broadcast today. It's been definitely a challenging 7 months now. It feels like just yesterday we were here getting ready for a great season in the middle of March, and within a snap of a finger, shelter at home arrived on us, and then from there it's been a challenge ever since. So we were very much looking forward to providing a fantastic summer of memories to all of our residents as well as guests, not only at the Hyland Hills resident area, but surrounding areas like Westminster, Broomfield, Thornton, Northglenn, everyone around us. So basically, pre-COVID, we were chugging along. So we had some great things to share with our soon-to-be guests at Waterworld. The golf course was doing great. Adventure Golf and Raceway was going well. Leagues were getting ready to start up at the Ice Center. Junior hockey was rolling, and then, like I said, the safer at home came in, and then everything sort of shut down. We actually just right after St. Patrick's Day made the decision that, from our standpoint, and this was about a week prior to the governor's shelter at home order. We decided to go ahead and shut everything down. We saw a lot of things happening with uptick in cases. At that point, out of an abundance of caution, we went ahead and decided that it was important for us to go ahead and probably stop what we were doing and at least let those 2 weeks kind of go through and see what happened from there. Of course, at that point, everything snowballed, and before you knew it, we were announcing that Waterworld was not going to open for the season, and that was a very tough decision for us. We had followed CDC guidelines. We had spoken with local health officials, and for everything that we know that chlorinated water, treated properly, would not allow the spread of the virus. So we were fairly confident that we could go ahead and probably open if we wanted to, even at a minimal capacity. And we had several contingency plans in place. Our operations team did a magnificent job in having at least 10 different options of us, everything from just standard operations, everything normal, let everybody come in, to even having like little pop-up parks to where we'd maybe have 1, 2, 3 little water parks just within the park itself. So that way then we can kind of keep everybody separated, socially distant, and everything like that. But we just felt, again, to keep our guests safe, that even though we wouldn't be able to generate the revenue that we'd like to, because that money is important for the district, we just felt it was the best decision to go ahead and not open. It was tough, it was hard, but I think what we found out, that our supporters and our guests, they thought it was the best decision. They didn't really blink at all in terms of being surprised by what we announced. We got a lot of comments on social media that they understood it and they thought it was the best decision. And putting safety in front of money, they supported us and said, "Hey, we appreciate you looking out for our safety, and we're going to be there next year for you." So we're happy that our guests supported us. At the same time, we're not going to just sit around and not do anything this summer. So we've been making a lot of improvements in the park, and next year is going to be that much better. And we really have some great things to announce next month. So we encourage everybody to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletters, because within the next hopefully about 3 to 4 weeks, we'll start selling season tickets for 2021. And we have some really big news to share with you guys in August. Outside of Waterworld, things have slowly begun to, kind of open up with now, safer at home and in the vast outdoors, as the governor likes to call it. The golf course has seen fantastic numbers over the last couple of months, because it was one of the only places that was open throughout this whole thing. Everybody being able to be socially distanced. Our pro shop is not open. We're doing a lot of contactless payments and operations to keep the guest safety a top priority at the golf course. But every day is like a Saturday right now out there, so it's crazy. I mean, yeah, with all 4 courses, the gold, the blue, the north par 3, the south par 3, it's just busy. And then the practice facility with the driving range, you see a lot of families coming out and just doing some sort of activity that they can get outside and have some fun. So the golf course has seen fantastic attendance and numbers this spring and summer. We went ahead and opened Adventure Golf at the end of June, and it's been great there. We're only open for miniature golf at the moment. We feel like that probably is the safest of all of the attractions there. We do have the ropes course, we have go-karts, we have bumper cars, but right now we just feel, from a sanitization standpoint, that we can't keep those things as clean as we can with miniature golf. We can go ahead and disinfect clubs. We can disinfect, the golf balls. We can keep everybody socially distanced. We do require masks out there just because we have three 18-hole courses that are relatively close together. So at any time you could be on one hole, whereas another foursome could be on another hole. You guys might be closer than 6 feet. So for that reason, we do require masks, even though it is outside. And that's been going great. We've had a lot of great feedback. Families are happy that they have something to do. So Adventure Golf is open daily from noon to 9 p.m. Ice Center, that was a slow one to ramp up. We started with we allowed figure skating coaches to rent out facilities. We have 3 sheets of ice there, so we were allowing the figure skating coaches to go ahead and rent out 2-hour periods to where they could have up to 10 people out there and keep socially distanced. We did require masks. They did do temperature checks before coming in, and that went really good. And now we've kind of started to phase in some adult recreational leagues. So we are allowing that. They just started about a week and a half ago. So that's been really good. And then with our gymnastics center over down on the south end of Westminster, we've started to do classes there. We started to at the same time do sessions for no more than 10 people to go ahead and use the apparatuses and do their classes and everything like that. So ProMac Community Center remains closed. We just don't feel that that's a safe environment at the moment. So we have that area is closed, but we're hoping, as long as cases don't go up and the governor kind of allows us to open up things a little bit more, we can potentially open that this year. But the feeling internally is that kind of where we're at right now is going to be the norm for a minute. And so we're not really anticipating a lot more growth and reopening than what we're kind of currently at right now.
Yeah, well, and thank you so much for that comprehensive overview. For those that are hopping on with us a little bit later, I see Sean Kaiser, Kristen Judd, and Hogan. Good morning to you all. We have with us Justin from Highland Hills, who's touched on kind of what has their facilities opening, their closing procedures looked like very early on, before even the governor's order to stay at home, how they assessed which facilities would be the best that they can continue to operate, and which ones from a safety standpoint did they decide to hold off on. A lot of those comments I actually captured during Justin's overview. That's included for you in the comment section of this broadcast. So if you were curious about which ones are open, like Adventure Golf, the golf courses, and a few others like that, now the Ice Center, you'll find the information specific into the comment section. And then the ones that we are holding off on opening, like the community center, are also included for you as well. So I'm glad that you have touched on those. So now let's transition into kind of what this has looked like from the side of your employee base, Justin. Are we at a point where Highland Hills ended up losing employees as a result of this? Were you able to try and stagger so that you can allow for everybody to still stay as part of the family? And this is one of those harder questions because you all had hundreds of employees. You also had the temporary employees and seasonal ones that you would bring on as needed for a variety of your facilities that you offer.
Yeah. So I'll touch upon the seasonal ones first because I think that's important because, on an annual basis, Waterworld Adventure Golf, the golf course, and the Ice Center, we employ about 1,000 teenagers during the summertime. And so we were well into our onboarding for the season for all of those facilities. And we had to make when we made those tough decisions, they were the first ones that really came to mind because those kids, there's a lot of developmental, sort of career skills and things like that they develop here at the water park at Adventure Golf. They learn customer service, they learn teamwork, they learn all sorts of great skills and techniques and safety and all of those things. And so that was tough because you had to tell all those kids that, hey, we want to be open, but we can't, so that was tough. And then on top of that, we have a lot of part-time workers. We have a lot of full-time workers here. And when we made the decision to close, the district stepped up for the first 30 days that we were basically quarantined in our own home. The district continued to pay those salaries without any sort of revenue coming into the park whatsoever, or to the district for that matter. And so that was great. I mean, we tried to hang in there as long as we could, and then finally, about 30 days after the first order that the governor gave out, we finally had to make some even tougher decisions. And at that point, we did furlough some people. So people at the golf course, those at the at Adventure Golf, at the Ice Center, at the district level administration. Some did voluntary furloughs. Some decided to go ahead and just, hang in there as long as they could, and then they needed to make money, so they went ahead and decided to go, and do other, jobs because they needed the money. So we ended up having to furlough about 300 employees when we did our first initial furlough,
Wow.
and in an effort to not have to lay off any more full-time workers, we ourselves actually jumped out of our normal duties and did other things. So when the golf course initially opened, I was out at the driving range picking up golf balls. Our director of recreations over at Carol Butts, normally on a summertime, they're putting leagues together. He was out mowing the grass at the golf course, So we were trying to find other things to do so that way we could continue to keep some of those facilities open that were open at the time, and at the same time help keep our jobs. Thankfully, once the phases of reopening started happening, we started to bring back, part-time help. We started to see the need that we needed to bring more people in. So thankfully, we brought a lot of people back. So the golf course, for example, a lot of their seasonal employees are back at it, with a little bit of some of our administration still helping out. At the Ice Center, they're doing, our GM and our AGM, they're out there, sort of working nonstop around the clock to make sure the ice is in good shape and everything like that for the classes and leagues. So we're slowly starting to kind of come back, but we'll never be at the full 100% capacity in terms of employment that we generally would see from year to year.
Yeah, and I think that's nice to hear that you're able to definitely bring them back. Good morning to you, Peter. I see Parker Brown and Pat Farrell. Hello to you all. That was a great comment that you just made last. That actually has me parlay into my next question for you, which was, have you had to hire certain people, or have you all really taken it on to implement those safety standards that you have in play of sanitizing those golf clubs, of making sure that you're enforcing those masks on those closer golf courses that are out there?
Yeah, it's been a challenge. We're finding new ways, I guess, to try to operate on a day-to-day basis. And from adventure golf standpoint, miniature golf, we just had to change our standard operations. So instead of having people just come in and go out in one area, you had to kind of reimagine it and say, okay, we're going to have them enter through here. We're going to have them exit towards the back. So that way no one's interacting from coming in to out and they're close. But at the same time, we're going to have them go ahead and deposit their golf clubs and their golf balls within a container. We'll go get that container. We'll bring it back. We'll go ahead and clean all the clubs. We'll wash the balls, and then we'll go ahead and distribute those out ourselves. So we have confidence that there's not a lot of touching and things like that. The high touch points that you might have in a standard season, those things aren't occurring. At the golf course, we don't rent clubs. They have to bring their own clubs right now, just because we can't ensure their safety, that they're always going to be clean and sanitized. I mean, it's hard to sanitize an entire golf bag or anything like that. So right now they have to bring those things in themselves. We do allow golf carts on the course at the moment, but at the end of every round, those are being cleaned and sanitized. So that way, then they're ready to go for the next round of golf. They're only single cart riders. We're not allowing people to ride in a golf cart unless they're actually married or share a household. So that way we know that they've been together for a period of time. So that ensures all the other golfers' safety as well. If they want to walk the course, they can. At the driving range, we tried to separate a little bit, everybody out a little bit more. So instead of maybe 6 to 7 feet, we're trying to maintain about 9 feet apart in terms of actual golf bays, so that way people can go ahead and practice their golf without necessarily being on top of one another. So we've just had to change, just our day-to-day operations, but it took a lot of effort from the superintendent of golf, Alan Brown. It took a lot from our operations manager, Ellen Turney, over at Adventure Golf, and Corey Whitlock. They've been fantastic in terms of trying to find new ways to operate to ensure that safety. Corey over at the Ice Center, he's been awesome, working nonstop, doing temperature checks himself right there in the lobby, and then going down and laying down ice on the Zamboni for all of the skaters. So we're all doing our part to try to make sure that the safety of our guests is kept at the top of our priority list.
Absolutely. And you've mentioned three of my favorites, and to hear that they're doing a lot of the good work is really promising that's there. Parker has also commented, and his comment is, let me pull it up for you. He's sharing Highland Hills. You guys are doing a great job at Adventure Golf. Thank you so much. That is a fact. I was just out there the other day, and it's exactly what you said, Justin. I mean, there are people in droves that are going out and taking in the outdoor experience of things, which is exciting because very early on that all stopped. And I think they're at that point where it's they are looking for things that they can be doing instead of looking at each other in their homes. So so that is a perk for you as well. And then I see beverage carts are out. Is that okay? Are there beverage carts on your golf course as well?
So right now, yes, but to a certain level. So what we'll actually do is we actually fix. They're actually in fixed locations. So while the beverage carts may be out, they're not necessarily roaming around the golf courses from hole to hole, seeing if golfers need food and beverage. We actually have a few that are parked around the golf course. So that way, then, as you're going from one hole to another, you can go ahead and stop and get a beverage or get some food if they have food available. The Gold House is open. That's the house between hole number 9 and hole number 10 on the Gold Course. You can get hot dogs, you can get bratwurst, you can go ahead and get beer, beverages, Gatorade, candies, whatever you need there. And then we're also doing something, and we never did it before until this actually happened. We actually are doing delivery service. So what you actually do is you'll actually call the Gold House, or we have different sort of facilities across the entire golf course. You'll call this number that's posted on various holes, and we'll pick up, we'll answer the phone, we'll go ahead and take your order over the phone, and then we'll actually deliver it to you either on the tee box or at the green of whatever hole that you might be at next. So for example, if you're on Gold 4, the tee box for the Gold Course 4th hole, you can call and you can go ahead and get a hot dog and a beer. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll say, well, since you're at the tee box, by the time we get to you, you're probably going to be at the green. So we'll go ahead and meet you at the green for hole number 4. And when you're done completing that hole, we'll be right there to go ahead and deliver that to you. And then we go ahead and take credit card information over the phone. We do have some iPads in use, but we're trying to minimize that because, again, those are high touch points. So we have to sanitize those things after every single use. So a lot of times we'll try to go ahead and just get payment over the phone. Go ahead and deliver that to you. Done, no problem. A lot of people want to tip us, but right now we're not accepting tips because, again, it's that high touch point, that high contact that we're trying to avoid. But we do have food and beverage on the course. So the only thing that's not normal right now at the golf course is that our pro shop is not open. And again, that's just for safety reasons. It's a small pro shop. With as busy as we are, we don't want people going in there and having to wait in line to pay for their rounds and things like that. So that's why we're taking prepayment over the phone. We're taking that via the website online. We just don't want to keep people in close proximity when they're in the pro shop, and that's just for their safety.
Absolutely. I think that's awesome, though, the delivery. I feel like there's a way that we could think about how you can take tips and get them sanitized, whether it's some like sort of a vacuum that just sprays something on there.
Yeah.
We'll have to think a little creatively on that, but I imagine that is a lot of waste money that should be going in the pockets of those employees that are helping out. I think that's genius. That's awesome. And the delivery, just for everybody's knowledge, that's on the course. Like, you can't call if you're across the street and get, catered or waited on, right?
Yeah, nothing like that. No, we'll just deliver it on the golf course only. So, and in some cases, if you're close to, for example, for the Gold House, if you're on hole number 8, we're just going to tell you, hey, just finish the hole. We're right here. Come get it. We'll have it ready for you. But for us to kind of just, go down one hole. It doesn't
Right.
really make sense for us, but we'll have it ready to go, nice and hot, nice and cold, whatever you're ordering. So it's all good.
Excellent. Larry Godwin, I see you on here with us. Lori as well. Thank you both for hopping on. So Justin, this is going to be more into the future. And I know you gave us a glimpse by saying, subscribe to newsletters, find the pages on Facebook and the website as well for further communication, that you will also start selling your season passes here in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks. What does the future of everything look like for you? Now, a lot of people don't see the planning that goes in from your end to get your facilities up and going. I mean, I remember touring your water world and just kind of learning more about one of the new unique rides that you were bringing in, everything that was involved in that and getting it set up and going for the next season. And a lot of people don't see how much prep goes into that. So looking ahead, what are some of those that you anticipate maybe knowing, if you know anything? I know it's kind of vague for everybody right now.
No, well, so, specifically to Waterworld, and I'll talk about that first, and then I'll briefly kind of summarize the other facilities. But for Waterworld, it's a 12-month operation. We're out there every day making improvements to the park. I'm looking over my shoulder right now, and our maintenance crew is repainting the cove, just because it hasn't gotten a lot of love and attention over the last few years. And with us being closed right now, it's a perfect opportunity for us to make sure that the colors pop like they used to pop, because the water kind of, dulls them out a little bit. So they're out there right now making it look great. And those reds and pinks and blues and all those kind of things are popping again. So it's kind of cool to see. Within the park itself, there's a lot of maintenance when it just comes to the landscaping. We know we're not gonna be shy about it. We're actually out there pulling weeds ourselves right now, just because typically we have, again, more staff here in the park, so they're doing sort of the landscaping needs that need to be done on a day-to-day basis in the summertime. But right now there's nobody in the park, so guess who's pulling weeds? We are right here. So we have a weed pulling session on Tuesday, as a matter of fact.
Oh my gosh.
So what happens? I mean, this is kind of what we're doing, but again, it's to keep the park looking as great as it does every single year. So we're trimming trees, we're pruning rose bushes, we're doing all those things. But outside of the landscaping stuff, we're still putting water into the park. The rides can't go dry for the entire year. That's gonna kind of ruin them. So Screaming Mimi has a pool full of water right now. We're running water through Mile High Flyer just to make sure everything's working properly. We're cleaning pumps out to make sure that they're filtering the water the way they should be. And those things go on through the entire summer. They go on in the spring, they go on in the fall. The winterization process, starting in basically September, we start winterizing the park. So draining pumps, draining pipes, making sure that nothing's going to, freeze and damage the park as we start thawing out from winter to spring. And then, come January, we're back out there getting the park ready to go. It's from January to May is probably our busiest time, because we do so much at the park level to try to get it ready and ready to go for our guests come the end of May. And it comes really quick. I mean, you kind of blink and January's there, and then May's there before you know it. At the golf course, it's the same things that you do at home every day. We're flushing out our sprinkler systems in the fall because we can't have those things damaged in the winter time. We're trying to obviously keep the greens from freezing over and having actual grass damage from winter to spring. So the maintenance crews out there working very hard in the fall and the spring, in the winter time, just to make sure the course looks great in the summer. Right now at the Ice Center, it's their slow time, but come winter time, knock on wood, if we're allowed to kind of continue to sort of reopen, that's their summer. They're busy with leagues and things like that. So it's a 12-month year-round thing for most of the district, because we have summertime at Waterworld, we have summer at Adventure Golf, we have summer at the golf course, and then come winter we have gymnastics, we have wrestling, we have ice skating, we have hockey leagues, we have indoor soccer. So it's a 12-month operation around here. We're never not busy. So
yeah,
that's for sure.
Well, and it's always you fill in where one is a little bit lower than the other one starts picking up, and I think that's the best approach you can have. It's diversity of the services that you're offering, because especially in a time like this when there are select ones you can open and the other ones not so much, it definitely definitely helps. And I see Vanessa DeMont is on here with us as well. And I'm also crossing my fingers that you guys, reopen everything. We host our Taste of Westminster with you at the Ice Center. So I know you mentioned the fall is usually your busy time. That's probably because of how much I harass you guys over there. This question comes to us in regard to the golf courses, and if you all are still offering golf lessons.
We do. So both Val and Issa are out there on a daily basis throughout the entire week. You can go ahead and get hour-long golf sessions. You just got to call the pro shop, schedule those, and they'll go ahead and take care of you. And then we reserve a couple of bays at the practice facility for those lessons. So we'll go out there, mask and all, and go ahead and give you those lessons.
I love it. And then I'm hoping that people have been, understanding and considerate of those courses, and that, you asking them to have their masks on when they're outdoors. I know it's a little bit harder because you feel like you naturally don't need it. But when you explained, there are 18 whole courses, there's 3 of them, they're right beside each other. I'm hoping that they're respective of your decision as a business to allow that.
Yeah, and adventure golf, for the most part, we haven't had any grumpies, I'll call them. They're very much understanding that, because of the scope of and how small everything is at the miniature golf courses, that they can wear the mask. So sometimes they pull them down, and we'll walk around and do a little bit of policing, and we just ask that they respect the the policies and wear them. At the golf course, not so much, because they can go ahead and socially distance from themselves. So if they can at least be responsible about that, then we're not going to require masks. Once they get into an indoor facility, because of the governor's order, they're in a public place, we do ask that they wear the mask. So but that's one of the reasons, again, why we have the pro shop closed. As long as the pro shop's closed, you're never going to have to wear a mask. You're going to get there, you're going to be able to go to your golf cart, put your clubs in, get to the first hole, and go ahead and go on, from there. We have little, if you know what a pool noodle is, basically we cut the noodles into like little, I guess, 3-inch, and we actually place those in the hole. So that way, when the ball actually goes into the hole, you can actually pick it up without having to worry about pulling the flag stick and things like that. Because again, we don't want people touching those flag sticks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's smart. That's super creative. So on the pool line, I'm sure you saw me flash the comment. This is from Vanessa. I know she loves going out there to Water World, asking when we will be back. And you mentioned, that we'll likely be selling season tickets here in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So the expectation is hopefully next season, right?
Yeah, so right now, looking at my calendar, we're set to go on sale, hopefully, with tickets on, maybe the last week of August, if not September 1st. We have a lot of exciting news to share with people. If they want to follow us, I would go ahead and say Colorado Day on August 3rd is going to be a day that they want to definitely talk to us or follow us, I should say, because we'll have some really exciting news to share on that day about some really exciting things next year. So I'll just tease it with that. And
I know, now I'm curious.
I know, right? So and then again, yeah, we're not going anywhere. We're going to sell season tickets. We're going to have a fantastic year next year. We're taking this season to make sure the park's going to look fantastic for everybody. And you're going to see some new and exciting things, I think, within the park next season.
Absolutely. And, this will be our last, I know we've kind of gone over, I'm all over the place today with my broadcast. Just bear with me.
Hey, we were a half hour late, so we'll take all the time that you want, as long as they all want to hang out.
Right. So Vanessa was sharing, she's saying, and if have met Vanessa, this is her, I got my season tickets already for this year. That is definitely her comment right here. So this was great to know. You all have honored any of the season ticket holders from this year for next year.
We have. So what we did, and this is something that, we can go ahead and announce right now. We actually are calling it our Splash Pass Promise. So the first step in that promise, it's actually a 5-step promise, is that for those who hung in there with us through a very difficult time, we're going to make sure that we go ahead and extend their passes automatically for the 21 season. So we were hopeful that we would be able to open up at least a couple of days in 2020, and we still intended for those season Splash Pass guests to go ahead and come to the park this year, and then we were going to go ahead and even and let them come next year. But unfortunately, we weren't able to open this year. But because of that, we went ahead and just extended them to next year. And there's going to be some actual additional benefits that they get. They're depending on what level they were at with their Splash Pass. They either got a $10, $20, or $30 in-park credit, which means if you're an elite Splash Pass holder, which is the top level, you got $30 to use at the park next year for food, beverage, VIP tube valet, personal tube rentals, cabanas, bungalows. That credit can go ahead and be used for those services in the park. And then two, we're actually going to include them. They will have the only access to our preview event next year. So we'll actually have a season preview the Friday prior to the start of the season on Saturday, May 29th, I believe it is. They'll actually be able to come into the park on that Friday and be able to enjoy the park for a few hours, just themselves.
Oh, that's pretty neat. I love that. And I like the perks that you're adding in, but also you really honoring the people that have stuck with you. And, you know, folks like Vanessa, she's been a season pass holder for 10 years. So it shows that these are residents that are committed. They truly have an enjoyable experience. And so to see that you guys are turning around and showing that love and appreciation does speak volumes of you as an entity and an organization. So we are nearly to our 40-minute mark. I'd love to hold on to you for as long as I can, but I feel like people have other things to do as well.
Well, I have a question for you really quick,
Yes.
since you've been asking me all sorts of questions.
Sure.
So first, congratulations on, is it Miss Colorado of America?
Miss Colorado for America, yes, sir.
All right, so can you share what that's all about?
Absolutely. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. So this is actually a newer division. It's a part of one of the 4 different systems. So a lot of people get confused when we talk pageantry, right? So you see like the Miss USA, Miss America, and all of that stuff, and you're like, oh, it's all one and the same. And you can think of it as different sports teams, right? So, you know, the Dallas Cowboys, you've got, you know, the Buccaneers, all of those different ones. Similar to that, those are the different pageant systems. So the system that I am underneath is the Mrs. America, which has historically been the married. We are family is their motto. And they created this division for unmarried, unattached women, basically in their next season of life, right? So they're not the more younger ones that you think of that have never been married. They could never be married, but they're the ones that are divorced, widowed, chose not to get married at all, or unattached. So that was a journey that's going on about a year that I have undergone. And it was following a major health scare that I had last year, and my commitment to helping others find themselves and be able to heal and lead healthier lives. So after about, I want to say 9 months, you know, we had 2 delays with COVID, and we pushed out our show a few different times, but we ended up actually recording the pieces of competition. This was the unique thing. We recorded the pieces of competition into a movie, and then the movie was debuted over at the Merchandise Mart in Denver. So we were Hollywood stars for a short period of time, and actually had no idea who won what until that night. So we watched with family and friends, and they announced it there. So I am officially your Miss Colorado for America 2020. And thank you. I feel overwhelmingly blessed to hold this title, to represent the women here, and then to be able to turn around and show off in nationals what we're all about.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. That sounds like a fantastic title to hold. So good for you. And I'm glad to see that after your health scare, you're good to go. So
you can never take me down. How can people find you though, Justin, if they want to reach out to you by phone, email, or website? What's the best approach?
Well, right now it's very unique because, you know, usually the administration offices are open, so I would say they could call, but right now there's nobody in here. So basically, email is the best way to get a hold of me. So if you see my name on the bottom right there, it's just J for Justin, and then my last name Shuvey at hylandhills.org, and just don't forget Hyland is HYLAND. HILLS. So jshuvey at hylandhills.org is the best way to get a hold of me. And more than happy to answer any questions, share, any news at the district level. Right now, we are all about making sure that we are very much transparent for our residents and our guests.
Absolutely. And, I'm a very fond member of you all, and I appreciate everything you're doing. I've been privileged to cross paths with a bunch of your team and staff and leadership, and I'm always continually impressed by the customer service that's there. So to everybody that's tuned in, thank you so much. Enjoy a wonderful weekend. If you come back and watch this video later and maybe weren't with us live, give us that hashtag replay so we know that you enjoyed it. And Justin, don't go anywhere whenever I hit the end button, but I thank you so much for being on here with me and for really braving it through what we were experiencing at the start to make it happen.
Yeah, no, and thank you everybody for your patience, and we look forward to seeing you not only this season at Adventure Golf and the golf course and the Ice Center, but we look forward to seeing you at Waterworld next season. So thank you, Juliet, for giving us this opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.